Welcome back. This is Kathy again. This is part 2 of the energetic oracle reading I did surrounding the current happenings in the Philippine Senate right now. And in my first video, we read the energy of the Senate as a whole, the minority, the current majority, the current minority, and the energy surrounding the recent shooting, chaotic incident that happened in the Senate. And I said in that video, I also wanted to, it didn't feel like the video was finished. And so I said that perhaps the next energy reading we should do is an energy reading of the impending impeachment trial. And so here we are. I was going to use originally the exact same decks, but that didn't feel right. It feels that the energy of this reading should be totally different, cleaner. Just oops, wow, that really jumped. Okay, so whatever first question is, this will be part of the answer. So I gathered new decks, and the decks that I will be using to read the energy of the impending impeachment trial, they are these: the Rooted Woman Oracle, the Monology Messages Oracle, and the Prairie Majesty Oracle. I mean, so actually this is the very first deck that I thought about when I was when I said, okay, let's get separate decks for the impeachment trial. Somehow that deck kind of flashed in my head. Okay, so I'll just get 3 cards. I'm at loss for words. I cleansed the cards, I shuffled them, and yes, now let's just pick 3 random cards to give us a general energy reading for the upcoming impeachment trial. So I flip them all over at the same time and we'll see. Whoa. Okay. So the first, it says here, support. Oddly, there's the full moon. And there is also, you can see kind of a crescent moon on the top. It says here, moon circles. And then the next, it says here, cave incubation. And the number is 3. Okay, and then this is just out of nowhere. It's just stars. It's just the constellation. It's just stars. Okay. They're not going to give us an easy time. Downloading the current energy of the impeachment trial. So it feels like it's at a pause. It feels like it's at a pause. I know it says incubation, but this bear is not really inside a cave yet, right? So it doesn't feel like it's been shelved, but I feel like the possibility is there, that it can be shoved aside, to be kind of forgotten, right, for quite some time, right? But it says incubation. That means even if it's shoved aside, it won't be permanent, right? It feels like it's trying to gain momentum. I feel like it's trying, with this card, it's trying to gain more momentum, like gathering a bit more people, right, to support it, to finally make it happen, if that is if that is what is meant to happen. No, it feels like there's a possibility it can be shoved aside, but it won't be permanent. No, people want, it feels like people want it to be forgotten for a bit. No, but it's not going to be permanent. Somehow it will come out. It's just trying to gain momentum, trying to get enough followers, no, trying to get its footing, but its time will come. It feels like it will happen. It will happen eventually. What does this card make me feel? Like stars. Stars. This feels like a gamble, like a roll of the dice is what I'm getting. Like anything can happen. Like this is like a wrench or like something surprising, something unknown that might just drop out of the sky. I feel like there's an element of surprise here that can either jumpstart it, shove it aside, or just, yeah, it feels like a surprise factor, right? Something unexpected, something that will that is surprising. What else does it feel like right now? And it feels like it will be more than one surprise. Yeah, because I'm what this is making me, the vision that is coming when I look at this is like a unexpected, like falling star, right? Like a, or like a comet. But they're making me see like a shower. And so the surprises that might come out of this, it can be quite substantial or overwhelming, right? Okay, so that is the current energy. Current because it's not yet happening, right? This is the current. Okay. Right now. But let's see if we can reach far into the future and see what is the potential outcome. What is the potential outcome? Yes, that is the question. What is the potential outcome? Okay. Oh, look at this. It says here, blow. How can I deepen trust that my intuition knows the way? Or wind element. What does that mean? And you can see the, oh wow, you can see the sunflowers. If you remember in my last video, in the reading about the current Senate minority, they were depicted as sunflowers. So it feels like the current minority who will probably become the ones, I don't know. Okay, I'm just going to read it. the current minority will incur some like damage. Some of them will not come out unscathed. It feels like some of them will be kind of thrown about, unsettled. Yeah. That is the potential outcome. The second card that came out, it says here, the Keening Woman. So this is the woman who, this is like a crying lady, no? The movie, Crying Lady, it feels like a woman in grief, really just expressing her emotions unabashedly. Just, I'm trying to make sure that you're going to hear me. Just grief, and it feels kind of like a dark night of the soul, right? Of course, in ancient traditions, the keening woman is the grieving woman. It's not depicted as a negativity. Sometimes grief needs to be expressed so that it can be cleansed from the system, right? And so, but yes, this is a grieving woman, loudly expressing, unabashedly expressing grief, sadness. Okay, and then the last card, it says here, focus. Yeah, which kind of reminds me again of the cards from the energy of the current minority. It kind of feels like they will be the ones. Well, they will be the ones for sure, pushing the pushing this trial, right? And it feels like they know their focus. They will see it to fruition. Make it happen up to the very end, up to the last person. It feels like every single one of them will stand their ground, even if like some of them will be caught in the crossfire. Okay. I want to get a card or several cards that will serve as like guidance or advice or wisdom for us as we become witness to this trial, which feels like it can shape the political landscape in the next couple of years, in our country. So advice. Let me just, okay, I feel like getting from there and getting from here. It should be just one card, but I feel like getting, okay. So the first card, asking for advice, it says here, look at this. It says here, the hidden feminine, the buried moon, the hidden feminine. It looks like the reflection, right? We're not looking at the moon directly. It says here, it's an indirect vision of what is out there, of what is happening. And then the second card is knowledge, drawing down the moon. It's from two different decks. but they're both talking about the moon, right? It says here knowledge, drawing down the moon, pulling it towards you. And then the last, it says here, strut. Am I carrying myself with love? This to me, it feels like it's saying, well, the moon directly is very emotional, right? But it can also be intuitive. To stare at it directly, it feels right to be affected by it completely. The moon governs all the bodies of water, and in our planet, and if you think about our bodies, how much of our bodies are actually composed of water. So it feels like this event can like draw us in completely and can allow us to lose our balance. So they're saying to look at it and to experience it and to think about it with a bit of distance, to not be too emotionally involved, to not be too set on one truth or one side, right? To draw knowledge for yourself, not just like if you are leaning towards one side, to also make it the point to hear the other side, right? To draw conclusions for yourself, by yourself, and not just through external noise, right? Make it your responsibility to inform yourself, to have to not have too much at stake on one side or another, and to keep our hopes up, that it's going to get better. Like this is the start of dismantling, but this can also be like the beginning of good things, right? And so there's so much yellow here. And for me, yellow is self-knowledge. Yellow is, like knowing where you stand, knowing who you are, your pride, fulfillment also. So yes, of course, to be informed, of course, to be involved and not be too dismissive about it, but to not place 100% trust on one side or the other, to be open to know more about the side that you're not too interested in, right? Which is not very easy, because as we've seen in other democracies, it's really designed to be divisive. It's really designed for us to choose one or the other, to make one the saint and demonize the other one. But these are saying, and what we are receiving is that kind of keep your center, and draw information from both sides, no? And not allow yourself to be too caught up in it, that it produces instability within you. When I say instability, like that's too much hate, or right, too much hate speech, or creating more separation between you and someone else who believes differently. Yeah. So I'm not surprised that the last card is a bird because the birds, like, they're constantly speaking, they're constantly making their voice known, right? But it says here, it feels here like come from a place of hope, come from a place of steadiness, come from a place of self-knowledge. And when we say self-knowledge, it's also knowing where your biases lie. Yeah, not to lose hope. We will try to do more of these as things unfold, because for sure things can shift, right? The hope is things can shift and things will play out more peacefully. That is the hope. But for now, here we are. Okay, I will see you again in my next video very soon. Bye.